Sorry. My name is Julia Mururi. I'm a student learn ambassador from the Kimathi University of Technology, where I'm currently in my 4th year pursuing a BSc in IT. And aside from that, I'm a lead in the community that is hosting this event, the Emerging Cup community here in Kenya, and we are so excited and we look forward to a very interactive session with you all today. So maybe just a fun fact about myself. Sometimes I just love writing things in an inverted way. So maybe instead of writing from left to right, sometimes I just write from right to left and read from the other side of the paper. I'm not sure if it's a fun fact or a disability, but I don't know, sometimes I just do it for the sake. I see our guests have already joined. We have Teresa Zimmer from Saarland University in Germany, and she's going to introduce herself well and share a little bit more of what she does. We also have Josh, who is also a student learn ambassador, and I also give him an opportunity to introduce himself properly in the next minute. So kindly to our audience, we look forward to a very interactive session. So kindly just type in any questions you may have concerning startups in the Q&A as we progress and even now, and we'll respond to all the questions, hopefully within the time that we'll have. So I'll give Josh maybe a few minutes to introduce himself as Teresa prepares her presentation to do the same. So Josh, over to you.
Hi everyone, my name is Josh. Am I audible?
Hi Julia, you're muted.
Oh, sorry about that. So Josh, we can't hear you. So maybe we can move on to Teresa. Bethany, maybe you could share her screen and as she presents.
I think he has the microphone off, or at least this is what I can see. Maybe he should just turn the microphone on and then he would be audible too.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so sorry for that. My name is Josh. I'm a Gold Student Ambassador, the Microsoft Student Ambassador Program. Also one of the co-founders of Triumph Lab Limited. And yeah, so that's basically who I am. I'm also an electrical and electronic engineering student at the Kimathi University of Technology. Thank you.
Great. Teresa, maybe you can also introduce yourself and share more of what you do.
Yeah, I think I prepared a presentation where I present myself during the presentation. So I think if I should start, I can definitely start. But if there are some questions or still some people joining us, we can also wait for 1 more minute.
Okay, I guess we can give 1 more minute to those who are still joining, and then you can start.
Yeah. Just try to share my screen. Let's see if this works. So what can you see now? Can you see me or my screen?
I think we can now see your screen.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I can't see my screen. I just see myself. Okay, but well, I can definitely start already. So, all right. Can you still see my screen? Hope so. So now I can't read the chat anymore.
Yeah, we can see your screens.
Okay.
Ooh, you stopped sharing.
Perfect. Then I will just start the presentation, and yes, if there is some problem or something like that, just tell me.
Okay.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Theresa Zimmer. I'm from Saarland University, where I'm currently working as an entrepreneurship and innovation psychologist. So this is kind of a different profession maybe to yours, because I guess you are rather experts in computer science or IT, and me, I'm from a completely different, or not, maybe not completely, but at least different corner of science. So maybe I want to share some insights about myself and about the course that I'm currently conducting, and about why psychology could be interesting perspective for young entrepreneurs. So let me start. I think this is an event that is called Imagine Cup. So I was thinking about myself when I was younger. So here you can see me when I was younger, and I was imagining a lot of things. And I remember the situation, maybe you know this kind of tool too, that sometimes when you're a child, your friends share some friendship books with you, and there you have to answer some questions like my name, my age, and so on. And there was one question in this book that was a funny question to me, and this was like, what would you do if you were a king? So I answered, or I imagined, if I were a king, I would make sure everyone can play soccer. So I think this was a very childish idea or imagination, but there are a lot of different things that you can imagine. So maybe entrepreneurs or you as students, you are also imagining things. You're having business ideas or ideas in the beginning, like here are some very innovative business ideas of our our days here. For example, a car that is flying, or a foldable smartphone, or something
Teresa?
that. Yes.
I think you stopped sharing your screen.
Really?
We can't see
maybe
your screen.
Connection is not that good.
Yeah, maybe you could just reshare it.
Can you see it now?
Let me see. Yeah.
Okay. So, well, here you can see some innovative ideas of today, like the flying car, or the foldable smartphone, or smart home, where all the electronic devices interact with each other. So these are very innovative ideas, and I think before these ideas became business ideas, the people that they invented them were thinking something like, if I had the money, I would start my own business. Or if I knew the right people, I could start my business. Or if I had a great idea, then I would make money out of it. So I think these are some questions people that want to start their own business are asking themselves in the beginning, while they are still imagining something. So, and until you really have your own startup, it's a long way to go. And something that is very common on the way towards your own business is uncertainty. So starting a business is mainly in the beginning a project with a lot of uncertainty. And well, for example, many ideas are ideas, but not yet business ideas as such, or there are no resources. And one main aspect is, of course, that the future is unpredictable. You can think about the future or imagining the future, but you won't be very sure of what will happen next, and especially not if you start a business. So the question is, in my eyes, for young people who want to start their business, what can they do facing this amount of uncertainty? And well, this is back to my story again. That's how I faced uncertainty. I had once a vision after I decided that becoming a king and making everyone be able to play soccer, I changed my imagination towards this sentence. I always wanted to change the world. And here you can also see how I imagined how I would change the world. I once wanted to become a doctor, but in reality, it looked like that. So I never became a doctor. I became a nurse. And yes, it's not the position of a king. I partly could change the world. I could help some people, but not really, if I'm honest. So I was there doing this job as a nurse, but didn't feel very comfortable in this job. So my imagination didn't become true. So there's the next thing that I want to tell you, or that is very common for students or everybody who's starting a business, that in addition that there is a project with a lot of uncertainty, this way of starting an own business is always a way with a lot of different surprises. Like for me, ending up as a nurse instead of a medicine. And these different surprises are not, or not all of them are good ones. So this is something you need to deal with too. So back to me again. I want to change the world. And well, I was thinking when I was at the hospital working as a nurse, because I didn't want to be there for my whole life, I definitely needed some change. I was thinking about the question, well, if I can't reach my goal of being a medicine, a doctor one day, what can I do else to reach my goal to change the world? What am I good in? This is the answer to my question. I was thinking about what am I good in, and I came to the conclusion that I'm good in talking with people. Friends wanted to talk to me, and also the patients in the hospital wanted to talk to me all the time. So I was helping them while talking. And in addition, I like reading books and I like studying. So these are two of my competencies, I think, that came up to my mind when I was asking myself, what am I good in? And that's how I ended up at Saarland University, where I'm already right now. And I studied psychology at this university because psychology is a field where in the end you can talk with people and you need to study a lot. All right, so starting a business with facing a lot of uncertainty and with a lot of different surprises on the way on is the situation that young entrepreneurs face. And the first point how you can deal with this situation is starting with your means, thinking about your resources. Like in my situation, I was thinking about the question, what am I good in? And this changed my way or my career completely. This was the next step. So once I was at Saarland University and I studied psychology, and I think most of the people thinking about psychology are thinking about psychotherapists. So people who try to help other people, clients, patients, who suffer of psychological diseases. But I wasn't sure about that, if I really want to be a psychotherapist. And here you can see some friends of mine. There's one friend, Hannah. She studied with me together and she worked at university too. So she wasn't only studying, but also working. And the other person you see in the middle is a teacher I had in a course at university. And my friend Hannah, she told me about her work and told me, well, I think there in the department where I work, they are currently starting some international projects. You might be interested in this. And my teacher, that you can see here too, she too told me that there are international projects, and I asked her, maybe is there any chance that I could work for these international projects, because I want to change the world. I need to start with the world someday. So this teacher recommended me to the boss that you can see here on the other side. She told him about me, and that's how I became part of his team. So back to starting a business. There's a lot of uncertainty, different surprises, not only good ones, but we already know that it is a good strategy to start with your means. And the next step, as you can see from my example too, is build a crazy quilt, build a network, and this will help you in uncertain situations. And my network were my friend who was already working at university and my teacher in this case. Next, what happened after I started to work at university? There you can see some of the projects that I was working in, the DEPUB project, and another project is the TAKER project. This is an international project with Pakistan universities where we try to improve the entrepreneurship teaching at the universities too. And first, I was just starting to work for these projects, and I did some small tasks, and then I had the chance to do my own project, my own first project. And you can see here, this is the startup bootcamp that I offered at Makerere University in Uganda this year in February. Or let's better say I started this course, the startup bootcamp, but I never ended it. This is how my situation was like. I wanted to start this startup bootcamp at Makerere University, which was initially planned as a project in Kenya, but there were exams going on in Kenya, so I couldn't do the project there. That's why I needed to go to Uganda. And 1 week before the project started, I got the message, well, now you can go, we are ready for you, come here. So 1 week before the project started, I took a flight to Uganda, and then I had 5 days left to acquire at least 120 students to attend my course for the next 9 weeks. At this moment, I was at a point where I was asking myself, is this possible, or am I crazy? And the next thing that I was thinking about is, well, okay, but what am I willing to lose? If I go there, if nothing works at all, if I can't acquire the amount of students, if I don't find something where I can live for the time for the next 9 weeks in Uganda, what am I willing to lose? What would happen? And I think the only thing that would happen is that maybe I lose 1 semester of my studies and I could do some holidays in Uganda. So this is a third principle young entrepreneurs can orient on. Calculate the affordable loss instead of imagining what isn't there. Instead of thinking about what you need to do something, just start doing it and consider what you're willing to lose. Okay, back to the story. I started the project in Uganda at Makerere University in Kampala. And then, as you know already, we came into this crisis of the coronavirus and the university closed, and so did my course. So Germany, here we go. I had to fly back without finishing my project at this university. This was a very uncomfortable situation for me. It was a surprise again, but that's how I decided to create this Entrepreneurship for Everyone course that I'm currently conducting at DEKUT and TUCA University. And this is an interdisciplinary e-learning course about entrepreneurship that would never have happened if I could have finished my startup bootcamp in Uganda. So the last principle that is very helpful for young entrepreneurs is, if life gives you a lemon, make lemonade out of it. So if there's even an uncomfortable surprise, like this coronavirus stopping a project, try to make the best of it, try to be optimistic, and try to invent new solutions, and never give up your vision. And maybe you know these principles already. These are the 4 principles of the effectuation approach. And this approach is a very famous approach invented from Professor Dr. Saraswati, that you can see here. And she did a lot of research on expert entrepreneurs. She wanted to know, what is the difference between people who are just having ideas and trying to start their business, and about people who are expert entrepreneurs. And these are the principles expert entrepreneurs orient on. So here you can see from the beginning of my vision, I want to change the world. I had a lot of ups and downs until I started to offer the Entrepreneurship for Everyone course. This can be compared to another thing out of the entrepreneurship area, the lean startup, or also the design thinking approach. There are so many approaches that you can use if you start your own business, and this is one of them. And here you can see there is some experimentation, there is some exploring, then a launch, then it goes back again, scale it. So the thing that I want to explain to you with this graphic is that starting a business is mainly an up and down of different situations, and you need to proceed always. So be optimistic and motivated, and I'm sure that there is a solution if you're creative enough for every situation. Right. And this takes me to my main introduction. So this is the course. I just wanted to present you what I'm doing there. Maybe you find it interesting, and afterwards I'm going to answer your questions. So this is the framework of the course. We started with a kickoff, then there were some sessions about the problem solution fit. So starting a business is about creative solutions for problems of a specific target group. So first of all, you need to discover problems or needs, and then you can find solutions for them. Because if you first start with the solution, there might be no problem that you solve, and therefore also nobody who buys your product or your service. The next module was the product market fit module. So once you have an idea, a solution for a problem, you need to scale your idea to develop it, to further develop it to a business idea, so that it is a product or a service that fits to the market. And in the end, of course, you need to take action. You need to calculate your financial resources. This is what we have done in this course last week. And you need to search for funding opportunities, because I think most of the people are not able to start a business right away just using their savings. So far about the course. This is how the course looked like, kind of. We're having 11 online sessions. Here you can see like one session looks like. And in every session, there are some explanatory videos, as you can see in the middle of this slide. And every week we had some live sessions where I gave feedback to the tasks of the startup teams. This is an essential factor or aspect of the course that I was doing, that students were working in teams. And I think working in teams is already one resource that you have. You can definitely benefit from everyone who is contributing ideas during the process of developing a business idea. All right. So this is it. So I'm here. This was just maybe a short introduction or about myself, about what I'm doing, and about some aspects, some principles that come from psychology and that are useful for entrepreneurs. And I think these principles are not very common because in most of the cases, if you think about starting a business, you think about business stuff like marketing, business plans, and so on. But what I wanted to show you is that in the situation when you start a business, there is so many uncertainty that plans or detailed calculations don't help you all the time. That's why it might be more helpful to orient on these principles. All right. So maybe just for now, are there already some questions except the ones that I noted down here? So if there are questions, feel free to ask me anything. Okay. Let's have a look.
Okay, so hi, Teresa again.
Hi.
There's a question that I received from one of the students, and they were asking if there's a certain grit or resolve that is necessary in building a startup. So maybe you could address that as well.
Yes. Yeah, well, I think this is a very interesting question. Let's see if I still share. No, maybe I will let me check this so I can do this bigger way. All right. Yeah, so if there is a certain grit that you need to start your business, well, I think the answer is partly already from according to the effectuation principles. These tell you that kind of everyone can start a business. Everyone has means, and everyone can start something because everyone has some competencies to make a business out of it. But of course, it is very difficult to start a business on your own. So I would say it's better to start a business if you're not alone. This is one requirement. Maybe you definitely need a network to start a business, but there is maybe in addition some people or some persons who have a specific personality. In psychology, we say also that some persons are extroverted or open-minded. These persons or people would have it easier to start a business, I think, because for them it's easier to get in touch with others. Maybe also creative person, for them it's easier. But I also know startups where one team member had an idea and this team member wasn't very open-minded and not extroverted at all. And just with this short, small idea, the person asked others if they want to join the team and if they want to further develop a business idea together. And this shy person with a small idea really could get in touch with some people that are more open-minded and more extroverted. And so it came that there was one person, the creative person, but shy person maybe. Then there were some more team members who are complementing this person too. So with this example, you can see no matter what requirements you have with a team, you can always create the resources that you need in order to start your business too. So I think maybe this is my answer to the question. Are there more questions?
Okay, yeah, I may have one more question. Just adding to what you said. So you mentioned how significant it is to like have a team working, and although you can also do it as an individual. So like, how do you go about putting a team together? Because you can't just have random people, just like trusting them with the whole idea. So how do you like get a team together, and how do you manage the different maybe personalities of the team that you put together?
Okay, so the question is about the team. How can you get a team? Well, I think in the beginning you never know if the team is a good team. I think the only requirement is some interest in the same ideas, some motivation, and the one who has the idea or who is the leader in the team, who tries to convince the other team members to work with him or herself, needs some convincing skills. And once the team works together, of course, there are some skills that make an effective teamwork easier. And these are most of all communication skills, I think, and conflict management skills. Of course, also management skills or leadership skills, but the most important thing in a team is that team members represent resources with their ideas, with their competencies, and with their network. And to bring this all together, it is necessary to know about different interests, networks, and so on. So you need to talk about it, you need to create something together and to decide on something together. That's why communication is so important. And of course, all the time when there are different perspectives, a conflict can arise. So dealing with conflicts is a very important skill in order to be an effective team who's starting a business together. And I think if you have good skills in communication, conflict management, and organization, and so on, it doesn't matter if someone doesn't seem that perfect to fit to the team in the beginning, because if you respect each other and if you take into consideration all the different competencies, everyone can contribute something. Of course, after some time, it might be the case that some people don't have the same vision as the other team members, and then you need to decide again, is it worth it to work together with these team members, or wouldn't it be better to convince new team members? So this is something that happens very, very often in startup teams, that they start a business or they start to develop a business idea in the beginning, and after some months they acquire additional team members, and some of the team members that were working together in the beginning, they leave the team. So this is not the end of the business idea, but of course it must fit together. So the team must fit together. Maybe the work or how they are working, how they are solving problems should be similar. And of course, or maybe after some time, there is often teams, when teams work together, there are often kind of team norms or a team culture that arises. And this team culture is very specific for the team that works together. So if somebody can't accept the certain team culture that is just automatically arising in the team, then it would be difficult for this person to continue the work with the team. But as everybody contributes to the culture of the team, to the decision on how they work together, it can also be possible that they form a culture out of the different team members, so that they come to a compromise in how they work together. Yes, so maybe so far about teams.
Okay, so maybe before we move on to the other topic, maybe we could hear from Josh, because I think he also has some experience while building up his own startup. So what do you have to say regarding the whole team building thing?
Do you mean me or do you mean Josh?
Josh. Josh, you're on mute.
Pardon?
Yes, could you kindly respond to the same question? I'm not sure Josh can get as well. Maybe we could move on to the next question. To you, Teresa. You've mentioned about the leader of a team. So maybe, are there any other roles that can be distributed to the other team members? So instead of just having the leader, what are the other roles that can be distributed among the other team members?
From a psychological perspectives, there are a lot of different team roles that can arise in a team. For example, there is often one person who is rather a creative and innovative person, and on the other hand, there might be someone who is always taking care about that everything gets finished. We call it also finisher. Or there might be a person who is very good in teamwork, who can coordinate meetings, who can coordinate information. So there are definitely different roles in a team. But I think the roles are not the only thing that are important if you work together in a team. So you mustn't meet and allocate the different roles at first sight. I think it is more important to exchange your interests and your expertises, your competencies, and this is something that counts too if you work together in a team. So there is your knowledge, your background on the one hand, and on the other hand, there are your team skills, your social interaction skills that are important if you work together in a team. So what is important about this role and competency thing for the team as such? I think this is important if you want to consider the resources of everybody in a very effective way. It wouldn't make sense to, for example, that someone who is not a creative person, if this person needs to do a creative task. So I think something like allocating tasks to different people is a thing that should be considered according to the roles or also according to the competencies and interests, of course. Because only if a person has an interest in a task and is some kind of good in a task, then this person would be motivated to do it and you would have success. So you can benefit from this person. Otherwise, you won't benefit from these qualities. And the social interaction skills like a team worker, a finisher, an innovative person, a leader, and so on, they arise when you meet together in a team. So these are some roles that just arise automatically, I think, and everyone is different. So you can't, or the only thing to say here is that it is necessary to be aware that everybody is different, that everybody has different social interaction skills, and that you can't, or that conflicts shouldn't arise due to role ambiguity, or if somebody has to do a task that doesn't fit to his or her competencies or roles in a team. So, okay, so there is a problem with Josh. Maybe, also we can't hear you. Maybe you switched your microphone off. But if you have questions or if you want to say something, you can also text us in the chat, I think.
Okay, great. So I see we have one question on the Q&A from Ryan, and he's asking, should you approach just any sponsor or should you target specific sponsors?
I think my answer to this question is, first of all, what kind of sponsor do you want to reach? Is it someone who has similar interest to you, who is working in a similar field of business? Because then the probability that he or she will support you is higher. But on the other hand, you can't be sure if you only focus on one supporter that he or she is really supporting you afterwards. So I think it is better to take into consideration a lot of different options, different ways. Of course, you need to set priorities on the tasks, so you can't just only focus on getting in touch with all the investors and sponsors that there are, but I think the first thing to think about is if the sponsor or investor meets your interests. So if he or she could be interested in supporting you, what are the arguments that how you can convince someone to about your business idea? Put yourself in their shoes. What do you think? What would be convincing for them? Why should they support you? And I think if you can answer the question with yes, if I were this specific investor, you do some research about this person or the sponsor, and you know somehow the characteristics or interests, then you could already answer you the question if he or she would support you or not. And of course, you can't foresee it. Therefore, it's better to go more ways than just focusing on one sponsor.
Okay, great. So maybe in line with that, instead of just having or looking for a sponsor, are there maybe other funding options that you can consider?
Yes, of course there are.
And if there are, could you maybe just expound on a few options?
Yes, so there are more funding options, of course, than just getting in touch with an investor or with a sponsor. I think in general it is difficult to get money, and no matter what way you are going, you need to be convincing, you need to be prepared very well. But what you can do, for example, well, there's the one thing, the sponsor or the investor or a business angel. Business angel is usually someone who started his or her own business and is, for example, now CEO of a huge company and who has financial resources and the idea of supporting smaller businesses. So someone like that could support you too. Question is, of course, where can you find some business angels? Is there a list on the internet of all the business angels that you can contact? So the answer is, of course, no. I think it is not easy to find these business angels, but usually there are some events, some competitions, some meetups, and if you check on these events on a specific topic, most of all they are offered for a specific topic, for example, climate change, IT, digitalization, globalization, whatever. And if you go to these events, maybe through networking, you get in touch with some business angels. Or you have the possibility to apply for an incubation center or an accelerator program. These are institutions or organizations that support you in a way that you can work there, and they coach you with your business idea. And something that is an important factor about incubation centers is they already helped or supported a lot of startups. That's why they have a huge network. So maybe they do already have the contacts to some business angels or investors who could be interested in your in financing your business idea. That's why maybe instead of contacting the sponsor or investor right away, it would be more helpful to first enlarge your network and do an incubation center or apply for an incubation center. On the other hand, something that we were talking about already in this morning in the Entrepreneurship for Everyone course, there is a possibility called crowdfunding. And crowdfunding is, on the one hand, something you can interpret as donation. So you can collect donations, of course. You can start an online campaign where people can donate money to your business, to support your business. But on the other hand, there is also crowdfunding in the sense of like entrepreneurs use it. So they rather use it, for example, as pre-sales crowdfunding. And that's to say you create a platform, for example, in the internet, you announce that you will sell a specific product, that you developed a product and you want to sell it in some month. So you won't sell it tomorrow, but in some month. And people can already buy it, or they can say, well, I'm interested in this product, I would buy it definitely. Of course, the better way would be that they order the product already and that they pay already for the product. And because they are already paying for the product that you announced on a landing page or so on, you can create the first revenue stream. And with this revenue, you can finance the production of the product itself. So maybe for those who want to get more information about this crowdfunding, go just to Google and have a look at, there are so many articles about crowdfunding, and maybe go and read some stories of startups, because there are definitely some who used this strategy. You could try to get in touch with them to ask them how it went, what they would recommend you. I think startups are always very open, and they will help each other if they are already successful, because they know how hard it is in the beginning to start an own business. So there are a lot of different options. Of course, the last thing maybe that there are is grants, but I think grants, so governmental grants or grants of foundations, they are not very easy to acquire because there is a high competition. And yes, grants have the advantage that you don't have to pay anything back. If you win a grant, or if you win the competition about a grant, then you receive the money and you can do with the money what you want. You don't need to pay something back. But you need to be very convincing, and you need to win the competition about a grant.
Okay, perfect. So I see we have one question for Josh. Josh, are you available?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. So there's a question for you on the chat from Junior, and he's asking, how can I participate in the forthcoming Imagine Cup, and when is it starting?
All right. Okay, thank you so much. So so the Imagine Cup competition is already open. You can just go to imaginecup.microsoft.com and you register yourself and your team as well. So the application process for the Imagine Cup is pretty straightforward. You just need to have a project and your team with you as well. Register for the competition from the website. That's the first thing. So I believe the competition is already open, and it will be closing somewhere around in January for the first round. So all the competition information should be available on the Microsoft on the Imagine Cup official website, which is the imaginecup.microsoft.com.
Okay, great. So maybe one more question for you, Teresa. Thank you for that response, Josh. So it's a question that I've really received a lot concerning the finances while setting up your startup. So how do you determine the value of your project? So if I have a project and I want to establish a startup, how do I determine the value, which eventually will be the value of my business? So maybe you could expound more on that, and maybe the factors that I should consider while determining the value.
Yes, so the value proposition is something that is created by the startup team itself by developing the idea. But to have a value, you need to take into consideration different factors. For example, a value, or think about the question, what is a value? For whom is your business idea or your product or service a value? For whom does it represent a value? Is it only a value for you because you creatively developed your idea, your own idea? No, so this would be just an idea. But to have a value as a product or as a service, you need to get in touch with customers. And for the customers, the product or service that you invented must have a value too. So it is very important that you don't develop the idea on your own, but that you interact with your customers since the beginning of starting the development of your business idea. So go out, ask them, what are your problems? What are your needs? When do you use something? Why don't you use this or that? So get out and get information on how people would use your product and why they would use it and why they could be interested in using it. And ask them, what value would this product represent for you? For example, if I sell a bike, if I produce bikes for people out there, what could be the value? The main value is that people can get from A to B. So the next question is, what are these peoples, or where are these peoples? Who are these people who have a great problem or a great need to come from A to B? So the next question is then, or an answer could be, well, these are maybe people, maybe not the elder people, because elder people won't use a bike anymore. So you can exclude all the elder people, and you can exclude maybe also the children, because it would be too dangerous. So you focus on rather the youth and middle-aged people. And so you go on and go on, so and you proceed to get to know your target group. This is what we are calling also market research, or reducing the market to a serviceable, obtainable market. You really need to find a group of people, your future customers, who can perceive your product as a value. So it's not only about creating a value because you think it is a value that you create, but you create a value for someone else, for your customers. So you need to know your customers, and you need to know if something represents a value for them. And that's why I repeat also in my course always, try to empathize with your customers, try to get in touch with them, try to ask them what is important for them, and start to sell something, start to get feedback from the people. For example, if my imagination, I was talking about imaginations. If my vision or imagination is to open a decoration shop, then, and I don't know what exactly the value of a decoration shop is for the people out there, for my customers, well, why shouldn't I just start? I just start with a very simple thing. I just sell candles. I decided for candles. Maybe my grandmother liked candles, and I decided to sell candles. And then there are some people coming into my shop, and they see the candles, and they think, well, okay, candles is not a bad thing, but I need something as decoration for Christmas or something like that. And there are more people coming in your shop, and they are all telling you that they definitely need some decoration for Christmas. What will you do? Well, you will just offer them decoration for Christmas. So it's up to you to create a new product, to develop your business idea, to further develop your business idea. And of course, you can still offer candles, but in addition, you will offer another product, Christmas decoration. So the value is created by the time and by the knowledge that you have about your target group, and you need to get feedback from them. And there are different ways how to get feedback. You can do interviews, you can do surveys, research, but you can also just start with selling something and having a look at what kind of people are coming in, what kind of people buy your product, and ask them what they need else. So yes, this is maybe my answer to how you can create a value. So it is not you who creates the value, but you offer a value to a certain group of people.
Okay, great. So I have one more question for you, Josh. There's someone who wants to understand the future of Microsoft OS. So maybe if you have any response to that. You're still on mute.
Okay. So that's a little bit tricky question in terms of the future of Microsoft OS. But how I'll answer it, I practically don't work for Microsoft, so I wouldn't have the details in terms of the operating systems and where it's headed. But one thing, maybe if you just want to see how the release features that are not yet available, not the release features, sorry, but some of the features that are not yet available to the in the final release version of Windows, I believe the best way is join the Windows Insider program. So you can just go to Insider to the Insider. I guess it's insiders.microsoft.com or insiders.windows. Yeah. So just join the Windows Insider program, and then you can just start installing the Insider builds of Windows on your PC, and maybe with that you can be able to see the new features that are being rolled out in Windows 10. But I don't think there's much I can comment because I actually don't work for Microsoft as per se. But I bet the best way to know some of the features that are yet to be released is by joining the Windows Insider program, and you can start receiving from weekly builds, depending on the if you're on the slow ring or on the fast ring, so you can be able to get these insider versions of Windows which are yet to make it to the final release.
Okay, great. So I think I've exhausted my list, but I have maybe two final questions for you, Teresa. And the second last question is, what are the common reasons for failure? Like, you might have seen a lot of startups trying to establish themselves. So what could you say are the major reasons for the failures that they may be encountered, unfortunately?
Well, there are different reasons. I think the three that come up to my mind is, first of all, and if I have a look back at the entrepreneurship course also that I was offering, that one of the main reasons why startups fail is because the team isn't able to work together. So in the beginning, you asked me the question, how can I create a good team? This is very difficult. So it is difficult to create a team and to keep the team together, or to find experts. And if the team isn't able to work together effectively, they won't have success. And this is a big reason why startups fail. In addition, something that some forget to consider is that they invent products, or that they create products not for themselves but for others. So this is in fact a skill, a rather psychological skill, to take the perspective of another group of people, to think like other people, to think like the customers. So no matter if your idea is a good idea in your mind, or in your professional group, or in your team, the idea must be something useful for a group of customers, and not only for 10 customers, but for a lot of customers out there, because otherwise you won't get money. You can't sell your product, and your idea keeps to be, or stays an idea, just an idea, and not a business idea. So I think thinking in the perspectives of customers, or that missing a change of that if a change of perspective is missing, this is another reason for failure. And of course, calculations. So it is very important to calculate your requirements and to have a kind of an overview of what money you already have, what you need, and you need constantly to try to get money to finance yourself, because once you don't have any money anymore, you can't continue with the development of your business idea. So this is something very important, and some teams or some startup teams forget to set priorities in that way, that they need financial resources. So these are maybe these are some reasons for failure. That first, the team isn't able to work together because there are so many conflicts and they can't be very effective. And another thing is that startup teams or the people with the innovative ideas, they just keep the ideas in their mind and they don't change the perspective. They don't consider their ideas out of the perspective of the customers. And the last reason is that startups fail because they did wrong calculations, or that they don't have enough money anymore. They run out of money. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you for that response. So maybe on to the last question, the very last question that I have. What would you have to share maybe with someone who's from a non-technical background? So looking back to the recent innovations, they've mostly been about IT, IT students, just technological innovation. So what would you like to share with anyone who's not from a technical background but would want to establish a startup on their own?
Who's not from a technical background?
Yes, yes.
Well, I think something that, something that I want to share with all those who want to start their own business is, don't think too much, don't consider too much, don't plan too much. Start with whatever you want to start and get feedback and develop your business idea. Be open to change ideas, be open to change your business as such, in order that it fits to a specific market group. So I think this is something that is maybe not that common, or that hinders hinders startup teams to start, is like they know there is a lot of uncertainty. They are not sure if their idea is already working. They didn't consider it perfectly. They don't have a plan, but the plan gets developed by the time. So my what would I say? I would say for all the people who want to start their own business, just start, take action, and all the other things will just come up. You will solve the problems and have self-confidence in your team, have team confidence, and try to start right away.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for that. So I guess that brings us to the end of the AMA session. So I'd kindly request Teresa to maybe give us the parting short words. So anything you might want to leave us with, maybe in some information you might want to leave us with. Yeah, so kindly feel free to leave us with your parting short words. Then we'll have Josh do the same after you.
Well, actually, right now, I think every one of us is facing uncertainty too because of this Corona situation, because otherwise I would be sure that my team of Saarland University and me, we will be in Kenya in some weeks or some months, and then we would definitely offer something for young entrepreneurs at your university too. But actually, I can't plan this journey or something like that. Let's see what will happen next year. But the project is still going on. So also this Entrepreneurship for Everyone course is part of the DEPUC project that is offered at your university and at 2 other universities in Kenya. And we will offer, hopefully next year, we will offer more workshops and more events on entrepreneurship. And of course, I'll be happy if students participate in these workshops in courses that are offered. I already was in contact with some teachers of your university too, and hopefully they will offer the same course that I offered this semester, next semester too. So hopefully Entrepreneurship for Everyone will be offered next semester too. And we'll be happy for everyone who participates in this course in the next semester. I think it's definitely worth it. Otherwise, thank you for your attention here.
Thank you also for joining in on the call. So I'm also doing the course, the entrepreneurship course, and it's really informative. So that's why we decided to have you as a guest for today's event. So thank you. Josh, do you have any final words?
All right. Maybe what I would just like to say is to every student out there, you can be able to use the tools and resources around you to solve challenges around you. You don't need, to go out there looking for $1 million idea. I believe it's the simple challenges around you and the simple tools that you have at your hands that can be able to make a difference in society. And we just need to make use of what we have at hand, whether it's the skills, whether it's the knowledge that we want, and just use that to solve the challenges that we have, because I believe that every young person out there has the capability to do that. And as I always say, whether you're in technology or you're not in technology, I believe it's so much important to be involved in tech as a young person, because technology is going to influence our lives and our livelihoods, and you need to know at least, or you rather need to have a say in terms of how technology is built and how technology is being used. And so as a young person, you don't need to be actively involved, but at least know something about tech, know what is happening, know how the world is evolving. That will be really helpful in your journey down the road. Thank you for attending as well.
Okay, thank you, Josh, for those encouraging words. So I think that we've come to the end of the session. So in case of any updates, in case you need to follow on the activities that we do as a community, feel free to follow us on Twitter, ImagineCapKE, and also on YouTube to see the whole Student Ambassadors project and all the sessions that we have. Actually, we'll also upload this session on YouTube in case you have friends that missed the session. So I think we can leave it at that and call it an evening. So thank you all so much for joining, and enjoy your evening. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.